Will Shawn's mom run out of money? That's what we're going to talk about here today at the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. Had a good conversation with a guy, a real nice guy, and he's taking care of his mom. And well, let's dive right into it, and we'll go over the whole scenario, and we'll run some numbers which I just put in here, but I haven't run them yet to see. It's going to be interesting to find out. So don't forget to subscribe down below. Comments, questions. Yeah, if you have a situation like this that you're contemplating as well, maybe your own parents that you're looking at, I'd love to hear how it's going. I just don't know. It's tough. It's a tough challenge, and it's an honorable thing what Shawn's trying to do for his mom. So subscribe. All right, so let's go into this. So basically, Shawn, good guy from Texas. He's 41. His mom is 60 years old. His mom's got bipolar, so she's disabled, can't work anymore. And what happens is his mom and his dad are getting a divorce, and they're going through the divorce settlement and whatnot. And it sounds like, as we see here today, that the dad, who's quite a bit older than the mom, is going to give the mom about $300,000, essentially half of his liquid net worth. The mom is right now living in an assisted living facility, but Shawn moved her out of there into essentially an apartment where she has a home aide come over, and essentially for a couple $1,000 a month, which costs which the home aide will do the laundry, take care of her, make some food and whatnot. But she's not there 24/7, so she comes in to a little apartment that Shawn has put her mom into, and so for the rent, for the food, for the home aid, everything, it's about $3,000 a month. All right, so $3,000 a month. She can't work. She's not in the best of health. So I asked Shawn how long she thought she'd be living, and he said he wasn't sure, but it didn't seem like he'd think more than 10 to 15 years. But I'm going to use 20 years just as a thought process here. All right, so Shawn thinks she needs about $3,000 a month to get by. Now, Shawn initially thought about taking some of that $200,000 and buying a house for her, and I just didn't think that was a wise idea. And so she's pretty comfortable where she's at in this apartment, and he's pretty comfortable leaving her there. He can go check on her and everything, and he already has an arrangement with the nursing home care, the home angels or whatever they're called, some group. I mean, I don't know if it's that group specifically, but a group like that, visiting angels. All right, but she still needs $3,000 a month to pay for everything. All right, and that includes her health insurance and everything. And I don't. I can't remember if she's Medicaid. I can't remember off the top of my head. I just remember he said $3,000 a month is what she needs, all inclusive. All right, now she never really worked because again she's had bipolar for a long time. Now she's able to transfer. That's a big deal when it comes to 6 of the activities of daily living, your inability to transfer, your inability to prepare your own foods, to bathe, to toilet, and all that. So she can do all that, which is good. So in this case, there's a lot of people who are disabled who can't do that. In this case, she's disabled. She just can't go to work. So she can do that, but she's not in great shape. The question is, so she doesn't need an in-home person to change diapers and stuff, which is I hate to say that's wonderful. That's a feather in the cap for sure. So Shawn's like, man, I just don't want her to run out of money because then essentially it's going to fall back on him. And that's a scary challenge for sure. He's got his own kids to take care of for sure. And so he's like, what do I do? And that's what we're going to talk about here. What do we do? And it's a tough, but more and more people are going to be in this predicament without question. The situation as we sit here today, mom has $60,000 sitting in cash at the local bank and expects to get roughly $300,000 in the divorce settlement from dad. Now, Shawn was probably can get a little bit more than that, but we shall see. I mean, when I say a little bit, we're talking maybe 50, 75,000 more, but we're going to just throw 300,000 to see. So we have 60,000 cash and 300,000 coming down the pike. She has no Social Security benefit of her own, so she'll get her spousal benefit, which will be half of dad's benefit because they're married for more than 10 years. All right. She did not get remarried before 60. She's not getting remarried at all. So she's not getting remarried. So she'll get a spousal benefit. And remember, the spousal benefit does not affect the other person. It doesn't affect dad. I can't tell you how many people say, I was going to reduce my benefit. No, it does not. It does not. So she'll get a spousal benefit based on dad. Now, Shawn told me he was thinking his dad was getting about $2,800. I think he was getting $3,400 a month in Social Security. I think he's 71 years old. So I just tested that or backdated that to figure he probably has a PIA about $2,800. I might be off on that by $100 or so, but I'm thinking about 2,800 was his PIA. And so her spousal benefit at her full retirement age would be 1,400, but she's going to take it at 62. There's really no reason for her not to. So she will take it at 62. All right. So, so it's going to be roughly about a little bit more than $1,000 a month in Social Security. All right, so she needs $3,000 a month. She's going to get $1,000 a month from Social Security, which means she has a gap of $2,000 a month that she's got to make up the difference for. So that's where we're going to leave things right now, as we're going to dive into this. So basically, her net worth consists solely of that $300,000 she's getting from Pops, and then the $60,000 she has in her savings account. So what I suggested to Shawn is I said, why don't we go ahead and he hadn't done this yet, but I suggested, why don't we go ahead and put 3 years of liquidity. All right. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here, well, I said, why don't we put, she has her 60,000 in cash at the bank that she can tap into. I mean, she can, that's the money that's there for her for basically a year and a half or so. Then after that, she'll have a 1-year CD and a 2-year CD. Both those guys will mature. So for the next 3 odd years, she'll have a liquidity in her accounts for which she can tap into without having anything to do with the money market or without the stock market or anything like that. But we can't just buy CDs because that won't give her any growth, and she's going to need to get growth, especially with the cost of care is certainly going up higher than the increases in inflation. And so my other suggestion was, why don't we just take the 244, and this is just Shawn and I just batting back and forth, and dump it in Wellington Fund. I'm assuming she'll have roughly 244, 250 or something like that in the Wellington Fund. Some amount of money. I mean, when I say 300,000, it's not quite exactly 300,000 to the penny. I mean, it'll be a half of X amount. So we're just being, using round numbers here. But basically, so in this stage, you'll have 245,000 in Wellington and 130 in bank accounts. So that 130 will cover her until Social Security kicks in. Then that will be exhausted, and then she'll live off Wellington or Wellesley, excuse me, when her Social Security kicks in. And that's my thought process here. Okay. And basically what we're saying is, her goal is she just needs, she's already retired. We're just putting retirement age at 60, but she's retired and she needs $3,000 a month to live on. And that's adjusted each and every year with a 3% inflation. Now she has no income other than the Social Security. And we're estimating, again, this is based on her spousal benefit, which is half of her ex-husband's benefit at his full retirement age. And so we're estimating this at 1,400. If she takes it earlier than 67, 66, I can't remember, it'll be reduced, and this will be reduced automatically. The system adjusts that for us. All right. There shouldn't be no savings at all, simply because she's not actually, let me just make sure we delete this. We're not, let's make sure that doesn't show up. I don't want anything going in here for anything. We're going to say 0. Even though it shows her not working, I don't want anything being looked like that she has any savings. She doesn't have any savings. All right. No savings. And expenses, again, are this $3,000 a month. That's pre-retirement and retirement expenses is what she needs. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. Make sure there's no other. Okay, good. All right. So that's what we're looking at. All right. Now let's take a look at the investment portfolio as we designed it with Shawn and I talking about this. And under this circumstance, Wellesley, not Wellington, but Wellesley Income Fund is going to represent 47% of the money. U.S. equity is about 30, international equity is about 5. So a pretty significantly conservative portfolio for sure. 37.63 in the Wellesley Fund, and then on top of that, you got the cash. And I think I want to make sure. If we use the bank accounts, included in the plan. Okay, let's just make sure these bank accounts are all included in the plan. And they are. Okay, let's just double. Okay, cool. All right, so basically what we're seeing here is we see an investment portfolio that's pretty on the conservative side, but Wellesley is a great fund. No other way around that. But it's not going to give us much for the upside relative to other funds because it's the annual return we're projecting is 5.6%. But not a huge downside risk. I mean, the standard deviation is 7.3 in terms of that just measures volatility. All right, so tax allocation is all going to be a taxable account. So she's not going to have really any taxable portfolio to speak of whatsoever, just because she doesn't make any money. I mean, it's just all there is to it. All right, so let's go to retirement. All right, so now we're going to see, actually, let me pause this real quick. I'm going to pause real fast. I'll be back at you here in just a second. Change something. I had to make sure the cash is included in the investment portfolio, so I had to go back. So actually, let's revisit this. The investment portfolio that she has will only give us a 4.2% standard return or annual return because the cash represents such a significant portion of that, if that makes sense. So when you actually add the cash as part of the investment performance portfolio, this will reduce the annual return to make it a pretty conservative, like 24.76 equity to fixed income, and certainly fixed income is including cash as well. So that would be an issue that we have to contend with if she does do $244,000 all into Wellesley fund, simply because you have way so much on fixed income. Now, it might work. Let's find out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to retirement, and then we're going to see, proposed plan. Actually, but hold on just a second. How long did I have her living? I forgot. It's at 80, I think. Let's see here. We're going to go to family. 60 to 80. Okay, I have her living 20 years. That sounds longer than what Shawn was anticipating, but we don't know. We got to plan for the worst. All right, so under this scenario, she only has a 2% chance of having any liquidity left by the time she dies. So let's see what the confidence looks like here. And she runs out of money right there, about 75. So if she lived till she's 75 and died before that, she's good. I hate to say good, but she'll have money left over. If she lives beyond the age of 75, it's going to be a challenge. No other way around that. So that makes me a little bit concerned for sure. Income. That's where the deficits are right there. All right, so here we got savings withdrawal at 77, and then she's wiped out at 78, and she's just living on Social Security. So that's not going to get the job done. In fact, this is one of the scenarios where actually on the cash flow, on the expenditure side, is one where I expect, if you look to expenses here, her living expenses, I have them inflating at 3% a year, but I could easily see that being higher simply because the cause of her living expense is the biggest part of her living expense is housing and, of course, the Living Angels people or whoever they are, the nursing providers. And that could be certainly grow at a higher than inflation rate of return. On top of that, when Medicare premiums, Medicaid, however she's getting her health insurance, however they kick in, that's probably going to grow more than 3%. So that would be an issue that I do think this might be a little bit conservative relative to actually what their real expenditures would be. So that would concern me some. So let's go back to analysis, and again only 2% plan right there. So what I want to do here is I want to see a couple things. So let's see if we just did $2,500 a month, and I don't think that's going to work for Shawn, but I'm just curious. $2,500 a month would give us a So I mean, we're there though, so that's good. That makes me happy. So if we reduced our expenditures by $500 a month, and I don't think that's feasible, but if we were to, increase our planning scenario greatly, which is good. That means we're not out of the ballpark by any stretch under the current strategy. All right, this is again the current strategy. All right, so let's go to cash flows here, and I want to see the accounts, and what we'll see is ending balance. So that's all the money she's got, 353, and then she runs out of money. Yep, right there when she's 78 years old, as you can see there, and then she dies. So those last 3 years, she's not gonna have any money. There's no other way around. The only thing she'll have is her Social Security. So let's do withdrawals from accounts. And you can see they're taking all the money from the investment account, not the investment. But again, we're including cash as part of the totality of the accounts. So she's taking money from the cash accounts, cash, and then just slowly but surely until it runs out of money. So I don't like that at all. I think we did ending balance from account. Yeah, we did. Okay. Yeah, it's not going to work. Probably don't have any tax. Yeah, no tax. It lives in Texas. No taxes at all. All right. So let's go over here, and we're going to go to summary again. And their total, so no taxes, thankfully. Her income flows are from Social Security, a little bit more than $1,000 a month, but she needs expenses of 30. So she still has $2,000 a month that she needs to increase. In fact, this expenses grows by 3%. I actually would think even more than that. And her guaranteed income flows only grow by 2.6. So you can see there's a widening gap for net flows. 26,000, 27,000, 28,000, 29,000, 30,000. So that tells me that we're going to need to do a couple adjustments. So let's go over here. I'm just curious, what if she did die? We'll just keep her at 70, at 80, excuse me. What if we change Social Security to full retirement age? Would that change anything? Let's see. No, it won't. What if we change Social Security to age 70? Will that change anything? It won't change anything because she's a spousal benefit, so it doesn't matter. I'm just curious what the optimal strategy is here. And it doesn't change much. Okay, so all right, so the only other change we can make is we're going to change the allocation. What if we made it growth from right now? It's conservative, no other way around that. So what if we made it growth instead? Oh, that changes it nicely. Okay, so I like that. I like that a lot, actually. So if we went into the Wellington Fund as opposed to Wellesley, that changes it nicely for sure. Again, we have her living 20 years, and I didn't get the impression that Shawn that would be. It seemed to me that he thought she wouldn't live that long, but who knows? In this case, the median we never, in terms of the median success, we never run out of money. So 50% of the time or more, we have some liquid account net worth here under median, which is good. Now, and 25% of the time, we ran out of the money at 77. So basically at 77 years, 77, 25% of the time we ran out, we didn't have any money left. So that's concerning to me. If we have real bad markets, 5% of the time we didn't have any money left when she was 73. But that's good. I like seeing that. That makes you a lot more comfortable. That makes you a lot more comfortable than what I've shown before. And let's see what the accounts look like. Oops, I'm sorry. We got to go to accounts. Yeah, so even here on a linear rate of return, she has 141,000 when she dies. And again, a linear rate of return is based on this right here, growth. 70. That's Wellington, 73rd, but only a 6.8% rate of return. So we're not swinging for the fences by any stretch at all. I'm recommending to Shawn that we had talked about Wellesley. I'm going to say Wellington. Just have to have more equities. No other way around that. Got to have more equities. It doesn't make much of a difference if she takes Social Security. She should take Social Security at 62. No other way around that. But given what we ran right there, I would make the recommendation that he goes to Wellington. Now, he's a durable power of attorney, so he can help. He can do whatever he wants on behalf of his mom. But I would recommend that he go to Wellington instead of Wellesley. And I'm not saying that fund specifically. I'm saying a fund like that. Roughly a 70-30 portfolio. I'm not saying go to Wellington, don't go to Franklin Income Fund or something like that. I'm not saying that. I don't ever make specific investment recommendations. We chat about it, and I say that makes sense to me more so than Wellesley, but it's up to you. I don't make recommendations because I don't know. I mean, Wellington, what if the manager of Wellington became a crack dealer? I mean, my goodness, then you wish you were not in Wellington. I don't know. So it's up to anybody to manage their own affairs. I don't get messed with that stuff. That's up on you. But in this situation where Wellesley is 35-65 and Wellington is about 70-30, the Wellington type of funds I would recommend over Wellesley fund for sure, simply because we have better opportunity for success. No other way around that. And that's a big deal. So that's my story there. I think in this scenario, a 52% probability of success works just fine for me. Simply because we don't think she's going to die at 80. We think she's going to die before that. I know it sounds crass. This financial planning is a crass profession. No other way around that. But the fact that the stock of more exposure to stocks give you more upside. The next 3 years, you won't need to take any stocks out simply because she has all that cash on the side. And this is the example of that 2-bucket portfolio. 3 years of cash, the rest in stocks. Once the cash is gone, you have to revisit that. Is it time to take some of the stocks off the table and to replenish that cash, or just take a distribution each and every year from the Wellington? I don't know. That'd have to be revisited in 3 years, but at least for the next 3 years, we don't have to worry about it. Don't have to worry about sequence of return risk or anything like that. And again, we're using Monte Carlo on this too, by the way. I mean, this isn't, when we're doing this confidence, we're running, all kinds of different proposed plans here. Monte Carlo simulation right there, stress tests and viewing specific scenarios can help you establish retirement plans. So I'm pretty fond of what we're looking at here. Proposed plan has 141,000 more ending assets. Yeah, well, that's because we're investing more aggressively. So I hope this helps. It's a tough one. And more of us are going to be in the scenario for sure. I don't know if you ever dealt with bipolar people, but it's sad, man. No other way around it. A lot of those bipolar people are addicts without question. And there's some of us amongst and that run around saying, oh, they deserve what they get. Well, maybe, but if they're human beings, especially one who loves Jesus, you can't just kick these people to the curb and say you're on your own, sister. I mean, you got to do what you can. And Shawn, even when he's got his own family can attend with, and he just, what a wonderful human being. This is what you're supposed to do. And I tell you, I shared Shawn my own experiences with bipolar people in my family, and Shawn is a good person we can all aspire to. Let's just put it that way. I'll keep that at that. So, all right, my friend Shawn, I know you're out there. Hope this helps. So the plan of action would be, instead of going to Wellesley, maybe look at Wellington instead. All right, my friends, if you like what you see, subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments on this. What's your scenario with managing a folk, your parents? Because it's tough, man. And again, thankfully, Shawn's mom here only has bipolar, not having to change diapers and stuff, because that just gets even more problematic. But subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks now.